You are wasting time right now, not in this moment necessarily, but today, this week. In the pattern of how your days are structured, or not structured, there are hours, maybe many hours, going somewhere that is not building anything, not rest, not genuine recovery. Not the deliberate recharging that makes the next day better. Just going into the scroll, into the passive consumption, into the conversations that leave you the same as before they happened, into the comfortable avoidance of the one thing you know you should be doing, but keep finding reasons to defer. And here is what nobody tells you about that pattern. It is not a time problem. It is a mind problem. Because here is the truth. You do not waste time because you lack discipline. You waste time because the mind has not been trained to know the difference between what restores you and what merely occupies you, between what moves you forward and what keeps you comfortable in place, between the hour that built something and the hour that simply passed. And a mind that cannot make that distinction will always choose the easier option. Not from weakness, from habit. And habits, unlike character, can be changed today. 7 Stoic rules that change the habit. Marcus Aurelius had more demands on his time than any person reading this will ever face. An empire, wars, political decisions that affected millions, personal loss, daily crisis. And yet, he found time for the thinking, for the journal, for the practices that kept his mind strong. When everything outside was demanding more than one person should give, he did not find time. He decided what time was for. And that decision, made deliberately and consistently, is the entire difference between someone who builds something with their days and someone who looks back at weeks, wondering where they went. Rule 1. Decide what your time is actually. For most people never do this. They know what their time is spent on. They do not know what it is for. And that difference between what time is spent on and what it is actually for is where most of the waste lives. Seneca wrote, Omni aliena sunt tempus tantum nostrum est. Everything is alien to us. Time alone is ours, not the job, not the relationship, not the reputation, not the money. Time, that is the only thing that is actually yours. And if you have not decided what yours is for, if you have not looked at the finite hours available in a day and made a deliberate choice about which ones go to what, then something else will decide for you. The notifications, the requests, the path of least resistance, other people's priorities dressed up as yours. Here is the practice. Write down what your time is actually for, not your goals, not your to-do list. What is time for? What kind of person are you building? What are the hours of your life in service of? Not perfectly, not forever. Right now, what are they for? And then, look at how the last week actually went. Did the hours serve what you just wrote, or were they serving something else? The gap between those two answers is where the wasted time lives. And now that you can see it, you can do something about it. Rule 2. Stop treating rest as a reward. Treat it as a tool. This is the rule that most people get completely backwards. They treat rest as something earned, something that comes after the productive thing, after the work is done, after the goal is reached, after you have done enough. Whatever enough means, you are allowed to rest. And because enough almost never arrives, because the list never fully empties, because there is always one more thing, the rest that was supposed to come after never does. And so the mind that was supposed to be recovering keeps pushing from a state of depletion at diminishing quality, producing less and less, while working harder and harder, and calling the exhausted pushing discipline, when it is actually just exhaustion with a productive mask. Marcus Aurelius wrote, Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. He was describing rest, not as collapse, not as earned reward, as retreat, as the deliberate going inward that restores the capacity for what comes next. Genuine rest is not wasted time. Genuine rest is the investment that makes the working time worth more. But here is the distinction that matters. Genuine rest is deliberate. It is chosen. It has an intention. This hour is for restoration, for recovery, for the specific purpose of coming back better. That is different from passive consumption, from scrolling, from the mindless occupation of time. That feels like rest, but leaves you more depleted than when you started. Schedule the rest deliberately, as seriously as you schedule the work, and protect it. The way you protect your most important commitments, because it is one rule: 3. Stop starting. Start finishing. This rule will feel uncomfortable if you are honest about it, because here is what most people do with their time. They start things, projects, plans, new habits, new directions, new attempts at the thing that was going to be different this time. And somewhere between the starting and the point where the difficulty arrives, where the novelty wears off, where the initial motivation has faded, and what is left is just the work, they stop and start something else, and the half-finished things accumulate silently, taking up mental space, creating a low-level anxiety, a specific background noise of all the things begun and not completed. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." The doing, not the starting, is the thing, and the doing, for most meaningful things, is long and unglamorous, and happens long after the excitement of starting has passed. Here is the practice. Before you start something new, finish something old. Not everything. One thing, the thing you started and walked away from. The project that was supposed to happen, the commitment that got deferred, finish it. Not because it is comfortable, because the habit of finishing is one of the most powerful things you can build. And the habit of starting without finishing is one of the most expensive. Rule 4. Protect your attention. Like it is your most valuable asset, because it is more valuable than money, more valuable than time itself. Because time without attention is just hours passing. It is the attention, the quality of your focus, the specific directed engagement of your mind with something that matters, that makes time productive. And attention, in the modern world, is under attack every single moment. The phone, the notification, the infinite scroll. The algorithm designed by some of the most intelligent people alive to capture and hold your attention for as long as possible, for someone else's commercial benefit. And most people are losing that battle without knowing they are in it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." That instruction, in the modern context, is a direct instruction about attention. Not yesterday, not the feed, not the update, the present. What is actually in front of you? Right now, here is the practice. When you sit down to do something that matters, put the phone somewhere else, not face down. Somewhere else, because the research is clear. The presence of the phone, even silent, even face down, reduces cognitive capacity. Your brain is using resources, just knowing it is there, to resist checking it. Remove the temptation, not the device, the proximity. And watch what happens to the quality of the hour when the attention is not being divided between what you are doing and the device that might have something on it. Rule 5. Do the important thing first, every day, without exception. This is the rule that is simple enough to understand and hard enough to implement that most people never consistently do it. The important thing first, not the easy thing, not the urgent thing that arrived in someone else's message, not the comfortable warm-up task that feels productive, but is actually just delaying the thing that matters. The important thing first, before the day has taken the energy that belongs to it. Because here is what the day does. The day takes, every interaction takes something. Every decision takes something. Every small thing that arrives and requires a response takes something. And by mid-afternoon, the capacity for the important work, the deep thinking, the genuine creating, is significantly less than it was at 9 in the morning. The person who puts the important work first gets the best version of their own mind for it. The person who puts everything else first gets the depleted version. And the important work produced by the depleted version is almost always less than what the work deserved. Seneca wrote, while we delay. Life passes. Stop delaying the important thing. Put it first every day. Before the email, before the request, before the comfortable task that feels like working, the real work. First rule 6, say no to almost everything. This rule is uncomfortable because it requires you to disappoint people. And disappointing people, especially people whose opinion matters to you, costs something. But here is what saying yes to everything costs. Everything. Your time. Your attention, your best energy, the hours that were supposed to go to the important work, redirected to the request you said yes to, because no felt harder than the cost of yes. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Apply of that first instruction to your time. If it is not moving you toward what actually matters, do not do it. Not viciously, not harshly, with warmth, with genuine care for the person making the request, but with the clarity of someone who understands that every yes to something unimportant is a no to something that is. And the unimportant things accumulate, small yes after small yes, until the important things, the ones that only you can do, the ones that are genuinely yours to build, are always waiting, always deferred, always the thing that will happen. When things calm down, things do not calm down. You say no, and they calm down. Start their rule 7, measure your days by what you built, not what you did. This is the rule that changes how you see time, because most people measure their days by activity, by how busy they were, by how many things they did, by the sense of movement that constant activity creates, which feels like progress, but is often not. The Stoics measured differently. They measured by character, by what was built, not in the grand sense. In the daily specific sense, did I do the important thing today? Did I respond rather than react? Did I invest in what actually matters? Or did I spend the day in motion, without moving toward anything real? Epictetus said, "Seek not the good in external things, seek it in yourself." The good built inside, the character, the clarity, the discipline, is the only measurement that compounds. The busy day that built nothing leaves you in the same place. The day that built something, even something small, even something invisible to everyone else, moves you, incrementally, consistently, in the direction of the life you are actually trying to create. Here is the practice. At the end of every day, before you sleep, ask one question. What did I build today? Not what did I do? What did I build? And if the honest answer is nothing, not nothing was accomplished, but nothing was genuinely built. Let that be information, not punishment. Information about where tomorrow needs to be different. And tomorrow, make it different, one rule at a time. So here are the 7 rules. Decide what your time is actually for. Treat rest as a tool, not a reward. Stop starting. Start finishing. Protect your attention like your most valuable asset. Do the important thing first, every day. Say no to almost everything. Measure your days by what you built, not what you did. 7 rules. None of them requiring extraordinary willpower. All of them requiring one thing, the daily decision, to treat time as what Seneca said it was, the only thing that is actually yours. And to spend yours on things worth spending it on. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." He was not being dark, he was being precise. The time you have is not infinite, and the version of yourself that you are building with it, or not building, is the only version you will ever have. Spend it better, starting today, starting with one rule. The one that your life needs most. If this gave you something worth acting on today, share it with one person who is losing hours they cannot get back. Subscribe for new Stoic wisdom every single week.